Hi, everyone. This is Captain Kyle. I'm here at Atlantic City Boardwalk Con with Brian O'Halloran. Holla.
There you go.
And he's been in Clerks, Clerks 2. He's been in all kinds of movies. Worked with Kevin Smith. I'm so sorry. I mean, good for you.
No, that's not fair. Yeah, I've done a lot of the Kevin Smith movies, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, everything you can think of.
I love Dogma mainly because Kevin, I understand, went out and he actually protested the movie and got interviewed.
Exactly. You know, that's the thing about Kevin. The best defense is a strong offense. So he took their argument away from them by giving them the exact argument they were trying to make.
Which is very cool. But let's talk about you, not Kevin. So, first of all, I understand you weren't even supposed to be here today. How did that happen?
Yeah, I technically wasn't supposed to be here today. I wasn't originally scheduled to be part of this show, and when I saw that Rosario Dawson was booked a couple of weeks ago, I talked to my booking agent and said, hey, why don't we get me into this? And so she checked into it. At first, they were like, oh, we're kind of full and stuff, and then people started to cancel, unfortunately, and they had room, and we reconnected again, and they had me here, so here I am today.
Well, that is awesome. Well, we're glad you made it. So, you look around and you see people dressed as superheroes. You see people dressed as supervillains. You see people dressed as Jedi. What do you think about this cosplay stuff?
You know, cosplay is such a great freedom for creative people. You know, I'm seeing such great, innovative type costumes, especially now with the affordability of 3D printing. Now people are printing their own props, their own weapons, their own, jewelry and costume parts. So I think it's great. You know, it's a safe part where, when you dressed differently in school, in high school or middle school, you're considered weird or whatever. But here, it's, the freedom of expression and the love for heroes, the love for, different talks about different things. Like, look, you do the politics of Star Wars or even the politics of Star Trek. It's a discussion that you can relate to real life here today. So seeing people dressed up and seeing young people especially just getting into Star Trek or Superman or Captain America and hearing the backstory that this goes way back to the 20s and early, 30s and stuff like that it's a good thing. So cosplay is a great thing. It's not just for Halloween anymore.
Now, I agree 100%. So if you were going to come and you weren't here as a guest, and you were going to dress in cosplay, what would you dress as?
You know what? I've always thought about doing like Rorschach from The Watchmen. It's a good kind of it's a simple costume, a good, nice leather trench coat with a great fedora, and it's just a matter of getting the Rorschach test mask on, and I think that'd be a cool one. I don't have quite the physique for it. People have been telling me lately within the last year or so, I should try to develop doing, a Doctor Strange costume. I think it's because of the goatee and that thing. Plus, I'm odd to begin with. So we could always do that. And plus, I'm getting gray in the temples. So I don't know. Probably that. Either one of those I'm a big fan of.
That'd be cool. And could you do the Rorschach voice?
Rorschach voice is real easy to do. It's kind of like what Batman was, but different.
So I'm Batman. I'm Rorschach.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much like deep staccato in your voice to make it guttural.
Sounds good. So, how geeky are you? I mean, compared to all these people here, are you into the superheroes? Are you into the Star Trek stuff?
Well, yeah, you're talking about a kid who grew up playing D&D, who did all tabletop role-playing games, who played Starfleet battles, who then, when computer gaming came out, played every type of early setup, Castle Wolfenstein and Doom and all this other stuff. So I was very, very nerdy. Look, ladies, I am no ladies' man, nor was I some sort of high school athlete. So the nerd thing was heavy in my rotation and continues to this day. A lot of the fun of doing these conventions, besides meeting fans, is I'm a fan of other guests who are here. You got the people from Gotham. You have Edward James Olmos. You have so many other people, even at other conventions. That's the kind of bonus I get for doing these things is actually getting to nerd out myself. I picked up, toys or games here and there from different cons that I reflect back on my own childhood growing up.
Very cool. I have to say, one of us, one of us, one of us.
I'm like OG nerd here. I'm old school nerd.
I'm right there with you. Original Transformers or Michael Bay Transformers?
Well, come on. If it wasn't for the original, Michael Bay would have no reference to refer to, so I'd say original.
Good answer. Good answer. You may live. So, are you working on anything new that people should be keeping their eyes out for?
I just got done a couple of weeks ago shooting a comedy short film with Jeremy London. You guys may know him from the Mallrats fame. He did a comedy short called Monsters Anonymous. It's a short comedy film about your classic Universal monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Frankenstein's Bride. And we're all in a group therapy session because we're all depressed that we're not considered scary anymore. So if you go to Monsters Anonymous on either Twitter or just Google Monsters Anonymous, it'll give you all the links. That hopefully will start hitting the comedy film festival circuit. I'll be doing a television show called The Fireball Run. You can go to fireballrun.com. It's kind of like an Amazing Race type of show. I'll be shooting that in September. And then hopefully in October we could start shooting Mallrats 2. Kevin has decided to do a Mallrats 2. And then hopefully by the end of 2017 we could start shooting a Clerks 3.
That sounds... You got a full plate, man.
A very full plate, along with all the convention circuit I'm going to be doing. Next weekend I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia for Tidewater Con. After that, I'll be doing a charity gig up at Mohegan Sun, doing some stand-up at Mohegan Sun May 25th. You can go to comics, COMIX, comedy.com for more tickets and information there. And then after that, I go to Traverse City, Michigan for Capital City Comic Con. And then a few weeks after that, Sci-Fi in the Valley Con in Altoona. Colorado Springs Comic Con in August. And then Australia. I'll be coming out to Australia in October. And New Zealand for their Comic Cons. Keep 'em busy.
Take me with you.
You know what? I wish I could take a ton of people because it's that type of trip.
So, stand-up, like, you think you're funny. Is that it?
No, I'm just a wise ass. That's it. I don't consider myself funny, but some people consider myself funny. A lot of it is stories from the road. A lot of it is just observations from my point of view, which is usually kind of twisted. I don't do it often because it takes. I'm not a prolific comic, but when I have a bunch of stuff that I like to talk about, it can just start rolling off the tongue.
Very cool. So now comes the really tough questions. What is your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. You're a chocolate man.
Chocolate guy. Chocolate all the way.
All right. Now, when you were young, because I imagine it both of us were, believe it or not, we were both young at one point, and you had to make extra money. How did you accomplish this? Paper route, lawn mowing, what did you do?
I hustled pool with my dad.
Really?
Yep.
That is very cool.
It's true. We lived in the Bronx. My father was an avid pool player, and I used to make money by going with him because my mother would work at night. And so to babysit kind of me, we went to local bars. And this is when bars had just like the shuffleboard game, pinball. If you were lucky when in the late 80s, mid 80s, they had the Pong or Pac-Man game. So it was a way for me we would do doubles with different groups of people. And my father would always swindle them into, well, I'll take my son, like as we're going to lose. And we hustled pool. And then I'd get a cut of the money.
That's very cool. That really beats my paper route by a long shot.
Well, I did have that too. I did do the paper route as well. And then I worked when I got into the age of like 14, 15, I worked for a fast food chicken joint. And then went on to work a supermarket chain for about 4 years after that. And so I know the retail industry. The Dante character was not far off of my early years in life.
I'm right there with you. I feel your pain.
So once I hustled money from pool, I then went out and either got Matchbox cars or got latest Star Wars figures or whatever, because they came out in different years, different series, and more characters. So that's where I spent my good money on.
I totally understand. I had over 2,000 Transformers at one point individually.
Remember Micronauts?
I do remember Micronauts.
Those were my Transformers, the Micronauts.
Actually, they've come out with more.
Really?
Yeah, more recent. Every once in a while, especially in Japan.
Yeah. They're big about transforming robot-y type stuff.
So one final invasive question. And that question would be, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Invisibility.
That's it. Because you can get anywhere with invisibility. You need to fly, sneak onto a plane. You need to get something to eat, sneak into a bedroom. Just invisibility.
Where do you go?
Exactly. And you know what? As a nerd growing up, you were kind of looked past as well. So you kind of had invisibility in school sometimes.
Especially when it came to being picked for teams at gym.
Right. Always last.
Yep.
Although hockey, I was actually really good. So I was picked kind of early for hockey. I was a goalie when we would do hockey in gym. So that's the one thing I kind of excelled at sports-wise was hockey.
One last thing, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, Twitter and Instagram, it's Brian C. O'Halloran, the letter C as in my middle name, Christopher. Brian C. O'Halloran on Twitter and Instagram. And then Facebook, you can find me. There is an official Facebook page. It doesn't say official because, weirdly, they don't allow it, but they do allow it. You'll see it. Once you click on it, it's a picture of me in front of a press sign for the National Film Festival. Yes, that is me. And it'll say official Facebook page, Brian O'Halloran. That's the best way to keep as to what I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Brian. It's been a pleasure. And that's all for now. And as always, have fun and cosplay on.